How is everyone doing today? We are, sorry, the camera's all shaky. I didn't want it to be shaking. We are getting ready for the demonstrator pre-order of the new catalog that happens in only 4 days, a little over 4 days. That happens on the 5th. I'm very excited. What is the 5th? I thought that was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, on Tuesday. So, first thing on the 5th. So there is still time to join my team if you want to take advantage of that demonstrator pre-order. In the meantime, don't forget to check out the retired list. Lots of items are selling out. Lots of items are discounted and selling out. So make sure you check that retired list. There is a new host code. This is the May host code. You will get a PDF with 3 exclusive projects. And of course, 2 classes I wanted to mention before we get into our projects is I have a Stampin Blends Club going on right now. It is a $40 online purchase to get into the Blends Club, and then you will get 4 exclusive projects. I will mail you 4 projects free. You also get a PDF and a video to go with those projects. And I also have May's card crate information up. This month, or for May, we are featuring the beautiful Friendship stamp set, so you can add this onto your card crate if you need it. You are getting 10 cards in the May card crate. It's a stamp stacks. You're making 2 of each of 5 designs, and you're going to be mailed all of those supplies, plus $20 in product, and the PDF and the video for the card crate, and a free gift. All of the details for both of those classes are in the video description, so you can click on both of those. The deadlines are coming up kind of mid-May, so you only have a couple of weeks to take advantage of those. All right, we talked about the retired list. Paper Pumpkin is sold out for May, you guys. So if you didn't get subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, then unfortunately you've missed out. So, but June's Paper Pumpkin is going to be pretty phenomenal, and that subscription period will start soon as well. Okay, we're going to use the Stamparatus today. If you have never used the Stamparatus, maybe you have it and you've never used it, or maybe you don't have it, maybe you've never seen it. It's pretty phenomenal. I'm going to grab my magnet from the bottom. So let's talk about some of these features real quick before we get to our project. So I grabbed my magnet from down here from the bottom. There are 2 magnets. These are bar magnets. Let's see if I can get this one off. They're bar magnets. They're super, super strong. And that is to hold your paper in place. So your Stamparatus comes with 2 hinged sides, and they have removable plates, so you can just snap them on. I don't know if you saw that. You can just snap them on, take them off, and snap them back on. And we're actually going to use both of these plates to do our project today. I have one of my magnets here, and it also has a foam mat. So if you're using a photopolymer stamp set, you need to use the mat. If you're using a red rubber stamp set, you need to take the mat out. So we are using photopolymer today, so I'm going to leave my mat in, and I'm going to use my magnet. Let me show you the card we're making. Let me grab my ink pads. They're back here. So let me grab my ink pads out. This is our color palette for today. Isn't it gorgeous, you guys? So we have Blushing Bride, Granny Apple Green, Melon Mumbo, and Gorgeous Grape. So this was actually on the demonstrator. Demonstrators have a Facebook page, and this was a color combination that they posted last week for us to do. Now the only substitution I made, they were using Lovely Lipstick, and so I substituted Melon Mumbo only because my Lovely Lipstick pad is already pulled out of my ink pad holders. It's one of the ones that's leaving, so it is already pulled out. All right, I'm going to put my chamois under this plate right there. And let me show you the card we're making. I'm trying to adjust my light so it's not glaring so much on that plate. But this is the card we're making. Isn't that gorgeous? So let me show you the stamp set that we're using. This is so pretty. We're using the Path of Petals stamp set. We're only using the stamp set. This is actually bundled in a bundle with some dies in the catalog right now. So, and the bundle price will retire. So make sure that if you want the dies that coordinate with this, you get the whole bundle now before it retires. But the stamp set is carrying over, so you will be able to use the stamp set. But I love the greetings in here. I got this one specifically because it had some really great sympathy greetings. And I didn't have a lot of stamp sets that had sympathy greetings, so I really wanted this one specifically for the sympathy greetings. But we're actually making a thank you card today. But isn't this beautiful? Now when I pull this stamp set out, I normally use like softer colors. I've never really made a really bright colored card with it, and I love it. So we're going to make this card. So we're actually going to start with the leaves, the greenery. And let me show you the rest of the supplies that we're using. Let me put this aside for now. So let me show you all of our supplies. We have a gorgeous grape card base, and this is 11 by 4 1/4, and then it's scored at 5 1/2, and we'll get to that later. And oh, I didn't cut, I'm gonna have to cut one of my pieces. I didn't cut this melon mambo layer, so we're gonna have to do that. I have a piece of blushing bride, and let me measure this, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, so it's 3 1/2 by 4 3/4, and I have already run it through my subtle embossing folder. So I don't know if you can see all that texture, but it is pretty amazing. I love the subtle embossing folder. I also have a white stitched rectangle, and that's from the So Sweetly Stitched, or Sweetly Stitched So Sweetly dies. So I love, love, love these dies. So I pulled out, I think it was the biggest one. I used the biggest one for this one. I love it. So that's out of white. I have a piece of Granny Apple Green that I've also run through the the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I used the second largest one, I believe, and then I just cut it in half, and I used half for one card and half for the other card. So we have a nice little scallop stitch border. And then I have a piece of Melon Mambo that is 3 3/4 by 1 1/4, I believe, by 1 1/4, and I have run this through our hammered metal embossing folder. Now the hammered metal one was in the holiday catalog, but it is in the online store, and it will carry into the new catalog, which is fantastic because I love this one. And I will need to cut a Melon Mambo mat for that blushing bride piece too. But let's just start with our white piece, because we're going to stamp on that. So we'll put everything else aside for now, and I'm going to, now ideally you would want to die cut after you stamp, but we're going to live dangerously today. So I'm going to hold this down with my magnet. And I just have this butted up into the corner so that if my paper should fall off or my magnet doesn't hold as well, I'll know that as long as I have it butted up into the corner, it's going to be good every time. Okay, so we're going to pull out our stamps. I have not prepped any of this. I haven't mounted any of this, so you're going to see it. So this is our little leaf piece, and we just want to kind of get this kind of centered. This is the stem part, so we want that kind of centered in the bottom, and then it's just going to the rest of it's going to just go up where it will. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to close this side and pick it up. I'm just going to press it down and pick it up, and because it's full of photopolymer, it's going to pick up that paper a little bit, but we're just going to put it back in that corner. I'm going to pull out my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to ink this up. Now if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you may have a lot of ink spots, and ink spots are perfect for the Stamparatus because then you avoid getting it on your plate. I don't know if you can see, there's lots of green on my plate right there. You avoid getting it all over your plate. So I am just going to press this down, and the great thing about the Stamparatus is if I don't get it perfectly the first time, I can stamp it again, but it looks pretty good. So I'm actually going to move my magnet a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the side, and I'm just going to flip it around. And actually, let me close this. Let's wash that off real quick before we get green everywhere. So I'm just gonna take my chamois and just give that a little scrub. We're gonna get ink everywhere otherwise. Okay, so we have our Granny Apple Green piece there. Now if you were making a bunch of these, the Stamparatus would come in handy because you only have to line everything up once, and then you would just keep putting your paper in and stamping over and over and over again. Okay, so this is our little flower piece, and I'm going to line up. There's a couple of spots that I want to look at to line up. This top flower and this bottom flower. Usually if you get those lined up perfectly, everything else really just falls into place. So I'm just looking at those two flowers, and they kind of just meet in those little, there's little stems that come out of that greenery. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is nice and tight in the corner. We're going to pull out our Melon Mambo, and I'm going to ink up my stamp, and then we're going to stamp that down. I love, love, love the Stamparatus. It is one of my favorite tools, especially for mass producing or especially for lining up stuff like this. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? Oh, love it. Okay, I'm not going to worry about cleaning that one because we're going to use our top plate next. So I'm going to leave everything all mounted, and then if I want to come back and make more, it will all be ready to make more. Now this one I think is the trickiest one to line up, but just be patient and I promise you'll get it. So There's just some little spots that we're gonna look at here. This little piece right here will line up with the stem there. This one kind of fits in the middle, and then this one at the top and this one at the top kind of go right around the petals. So once I get that all in place, I'm going to close my top one. So basically with the Stamparatus, because you have 2 plates, you have 4 stamping surfaces. So if there was a 4th layer to put on top of this, I would just turn my top plate around and I would have that 4th layer. All right, I'm going to pull out my gorgeous grape ink, and we're going to ink this one up here. And then we'll just close this one. So pretty. All right, let's pull that off. So pretty, guys. Look at how gorgeous that is, and so perfectly lined up, all with the Stamparatus. And now because everything is already on my Stamparatus, I can go back and make more if I wanted to. Or if you were making multiples, it's a great tool to have. Okay, I'm just gonna set this aside, and I will clean that in a minute. So let me put my chamois case aside. My very dirty chamois, but I love it. All right, so let's pull out. Actually, let's cut that melon mambo piece well I'm thinking about it. So let me grab my paper trimmer so you guys get to see how very unprepared I actually am. So let me see. So I went 1/8 of an inch bigger. So let me pull out that piece again. So this needs to be, so what is that? 5/8, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So I love our paper trimmer because you can cut down to 1/8 and 1/16. What did I say? 5/8. So 5/8. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now we're set. All right. When I made this card, I had actually left the mat off, but I felt that it needed a little something to go right on top of it. So let's get out the rest of our card bits. And after you get the stamping done, the rest of the card is very quick. So I'm gonna fold my card in half on that score line, that 5.5 inch score line. Use my bone folder, and we're gonna start assembling things. Now I'm gonna use fast fuse because I forgot to refill my snail. So I'm gonna use my fast fuse, and this is just gonna line up, and it's gonna be a very thin border because we only made it 1/8 of an inch bigger. And this is gonna go straight onto our card base. This is a top folding card. Normally I make side folding cards, but I was feeling a little rebellious, I guess. So, isn't that pretty already? I love these colors together. Now for this one, I'm just gonna put a little bit of adhesive on our green piece, and I'm just going to, man, fast fuse. I'm just gonna try to center that. I want that stitch line to show. So I'm just gonna center that just like that. And then this is going to go right onto our piece, kind of right along the bottom. That embossed melon mambo piece is just 1/8 of an inch bigger than our mat, so it's gonna hang off the sides just a little bit. All right, now before we adhere our stamped piece on, we need to do our little linen thread and our greeting. So let's stamp our greeting. I have just a scrap of white here. I'm gonna pull in my gorgeous grape again. And I'm using the thank you greeting that was in that stamp set. And I'm just gonna stamp that on here. Perfect. You could use any of the colors that are in this color scheme to stamp your greeting. They're all gonna look great. All right, so I'm going to just try to center that up, punch that out with my classic label punch. And I'm going to pull out my little mini trimmer for this, and I'm just gonna cut off the side. I wanted a straight side, so I'm just gonna trim off that little side, and by using my little mini trimmer, I'm gonna make sure that I get it nice and straight. Okay, let's add our bow with our linen thread. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it around a couple of times, and I'm gonna use the scallops to kind of hold it in place. So I'm gonna go up, let's see, 4 scallops, I think. Right here, one more. So 4 scallops, and that's gonna make sure that it's all nice and straight. And let me trim this off. We're gonna leave enough of a tail to make a big loopy bow. And it's gonna be almost all the way to the left side, but we can always adjust it if we need to. I like to tie a knot when I'm using linen thread because it holds everything in place. Gives you a much better bow. So tie a little knot, then tie a bow. All right, perfect. And then we'll just trim those ends as needed. There we go. And we're gonna add on our greeting. We're gonna add it right over the linen thread. I need to move it over just a little bit, so let's see. There we go. Bend your cardstock a little bit. You can move it over a little bit. All right, perfect. That is perfect. So I'm gonna grab some dimensionals. I have the sides of my dimensionals here. Is that gonna be too tall? I guess we'll find out. Oh, I think it's gonna be just perfect. This is my, the sides of my mini dimensionals actually. They just barely, they fit perfectly on that classic label, so fantastic. All right, so this is gonna go right on top of that linen thread. And that dimensional adhesive is going to help hold that bow right in place, so it's not going to wiggle around. So isn't that cute? I love that. All right, let's flip this over. We're going to add some more dimensional adhesive on the back. This is using up those edges. I love edges of dimensionals, especially the mini dimensionals. The edges are so much bigger. They're like thicker. Okay, perfect. And then I have just two little mini dimensionals left, so might as well use them all left. Use them all up, right? All right, peel these all off, and this goes right on top of our little card base. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. All right, now finishing touch, we're just gonna add some rhinestones. I'm gonna use my take your pick tool. I'm going to add two of the littlest ones in the center of these two flowers, the two more open flowers. We're gonna put two of the small ones. I'm gonna grab a really big one, add it over here on the left, and then a couple of medium-sized ones. We'll put one up here, and then one down here. So 5 total. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. So that is the card for today. You guys will have to let me know what you think of these colors, what you think of the card. If you need to place an order, if you need to order any supplies, please head to my online store. You can use this host code, and you'll be sent the PDF with 3 exclusive projects. You'll get the May version when you use this host code. Don't forget to check out the information on my May card crate and my Stampin' Blends Club, which registration is open for both of those right now. If you're watching this on Facebook, please share this with your crafty friends who would love to see it right now. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. Make sure to leave any questions for me in the comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a great day. Bye.